Hello everybody, welcome to Movie Master, where we rank, review, trailer react and talk about movies and TV shows. So today we're going to talk about the Marvel Spider-Man PS4 DLC. Like I may have said in the last video on my review on the main game, this is a bit late, but I will try my best. So yes. So today I'll be doing a review on the Marvel Spider-Man DLC this time, whereas my last review I did the main game. This will be the DLC, all three DLC videos, all three DLC. So this will be Heist, the first episode, Turf and Silver Lining. Heist, the first episode, Turf the second episode, and Silver Lining, the third episode. This will be all the episodes reviewed and ranked about how I thought about them, in my opinions. Remember, this is my opinion. You do not have to agree with what I say in the video. Now, there are three categories. Good, in the middle, and bad. Good is what I think was really good, great aspects of the story and everything else around it. In the middle is everything that was a bit of good, yet still bad, but never really merged between the two. It's more than merged between the two, like I said earlier. So it's in the middle. Bad, but like it obviously says, it's the bad aspects that I really dislike about the game area. Or anything, if it's a film or game, I really don't like the part of it, this aspect of it. So yes. So, let's get started with it. And the first one is Heist DLC. Now, a pre-warning is that this is spoilers, even though this was made 2 years ago. I gotta remember that there are some people out there who don't want it to get spoiled. So yes, this is all the good aspects, bad, and in the middle. And I'll give an overall rating for all three separate episodes, and then give an overall rating for the whole DLC story. So, now let's start with the heist. Now, let's start with good. The storyline. The story overall. The story is a very good story. It starts off with a very Black Cat-centered storyline. Now, Black Cat's character arc was set up in the main game when you had to go take photos of her landmark thingies of her Black Cat stakeouts, and it prepped up the storyline for the Magia crime family with blackmailing on them and USB, because it wasn't turned out she wasn't stealing blackmail for them. She was finding out info on the other Magia groups to find out how to infiltrate their bases. And she did, and Hammerhead found her, and she started working for Hammerhead to find drives. And now you get to the main story. Black Cat is trying to rob a art museum, which has a bunch of art pieces, and she's trying to find one art piece with a USB drive in it, and a bunch of Hammerhead thugs, or Magia thugs, are trying to break in and steal it. And your job as Spider-Man is to stop all the thugs, and then get inside and wonder what's going on. The guards have disappeared, the guards are all knocked out, and yes, when you get inside, you find out that the guards are all knocked out in their room. Soon, you go to a certain location and you find Felicia Hardy, aka Black Cat, at the spot, and you end up having a talk with her, and she breaks the painting and finds USB drive in it, because there are many more drives in many more areas. Later on, a bunch of Hammerhead thugs come in behind you, and you end up having to try and fight them, and you also have to fight some who are taking away, stealing art pieces that aren't even the main objective. So with that, that is another good thing. The entire story overall is great. The storyline about Black Cat using Spider-Man again, about her fake story about her son, when she did not actually have a son, and also how Felicia Hardy's father, I forgot his name, but her father, also played him too, played Spider-Man too, which is really good. So that's another good thing. Next is the characters. The characters we already got introduced to in the main game were also going to get expanded upon. So Peter Parker / Spider-Man and Mary Jane were both expanded upon more in this game, especially Spider-Man and Black Cat. They were both expanded upon, and it was shown that they once had a romantic relationship with one another once, but then broke up after Black Cat realized that she was in love with Spider-Man, not Peter Parker. So yes, with this is revealed that she loves Spider-Man, not Peter Parker. It's been shown in many media that she's only in love with Spider-Man. She's not in love with the guy behind the mask. In the comics, once he revealed his identity to her, she disliked him and left him. And dumped him, basically. And this one is showing that she is in love with Spider-Man, not with the other one that's behind his mask. And yes, I do believe it has really good characters on Peter Parker and Black Cat. And Black Cat's a really good, well-developed character. And you can see once upon a time that she was once in a relationship with Spider-Man and that they are really good friends. With this, you can also get context that they were once crime fighters. They fought beside each other like heroes, but then she gave up that life and went back to the bad side and stole stuff. And then she went a straight life, and then she broke off from there and became Black Cat again. So yeah. Another thing was the Mafia Wars. The whole storyline about the Mafia and Hammerhead's guys versing off against each other was a really good thing about the Heist DLC, and it really prepped up for Turf Wars and how big of an event it was going to be. Like the episode, as big as the Devil's Breath Crisis, it like bombed into that episode. So yeah, that's what I really like. The dangling plot line. Now, whenever you finish a story or a film, like a first film, normally you leave a storyline dangling or post-credit scene dangling for a sequel that you're going to tie the plot line up. Like how Green Lantern left the plot line that a villain was going to rise up from the comics in the sequel. Well, obviously that never happened. Or like in Iron Man 1, how the post-credit scene showed Nick Fury that there was a bigger universe there. Or in Incredible Hulk, where it proved that Iron Man and Incredible Hulk were indeed set in the same universe. So yeah, that's one thing I really like. And that's one thing I would love to see with this, is that leaves a plot dangling line. Like, is Black Cat alive? What's Hammerhead planning next? What's going to happen next? Where's Sable? Why is all the equipment getting stolen? Why is there so much high-tech stuff? That's what gets left in all in the storyline. That's what I really like. And yes, another thing is the unique activities around the map. I think it really brings nice, unique activities. And that's what I really believe is a really cool thing about this game. As it uniquitizes the activities. It makes them different. You had to find some old paintings from when the original Black Cat robbed places. Walter Hardy. No, I remember his name. Walter Hardy, who was the original Black Cat. You had to find a bunch of paintings he hid around the city, when secretly he's the one telling you, he's disguised as a police cop, is telling you, and Spider-Man has to go find them. And then you have to stop Hammerhead crimes, and Hammerhead thug crime, Hammerhead thug bases, and you also have to stop and thwart many other things during the game. And they also show you the airmark and backpack tokens you've collected. Just in case you haven't finished them all, they still keep them on there. And they still leave you the fast travel additions to travel from place to place very, very simultaneously. See? Like that. In the middle. Now with that, in the middle is same map, not that much difference. As I've written on the little template thing. Same map, not that much difference. Or not much difference. What I mean by that is the map never went through much changes. They didn't really change the look of the map. The city never changed. The only difference is that it was set at night and it showed the other mafia turf war areas and the mafia areas of New York City. That's all we really got to get shown. So that's what made me in the middle area of the aspect. And I do agree that it's basically the same map. They didn't expand to Brooklyn or Queens or any other area in New York City that's tied to New York City as a whole. So yes. But as overall, what I give it an overall rating is 9 out of 10. There's a couple of one aspect, like how the match is not much difference, and some of the activities feeling like repeats, and some other stuff feeling a bit repetitive, a tiny bit of stuff. But besides that, everything else is good. The map, not much difference. How the map is just the same is kind of a downer, so that down's at 1 point, and some other things down it back to 9 out of 10. So yes. So what there is now the second episode in The City That Never Sleeps, Turf Wars. Now this is the second episode involving the Hammerhead crime families, and most of the Mafia families. With Black Cat dead, the Turf Wars is in full swing. With this, Mary Jane, Yuri Watanabe, Spider-Man, and all the cops of New York, and a lot of other things band together to try and stop down this turf war. And they found many evidence. In the start of this story, Yuri, Spider-Man, and the police all find a place where the old Harlem Sanitarium, where Hammerhead Gang are fighting over with Sabretooth, taking down all the Mafia families quickly. With this, it's shown that Yuri cares for some of her, and one of the lieutenants got a watch from her daughter for his birthday, and it was a Spider-Man watch, which is really, really cute. With this, they end up doing the mission, and the mission goes horribly wrong when all the cops she was with get killed. And sadly, one of the good ones, the lieutenant that had the Spider-Man watch, the very good lieutenant, was sadly killed when the lights blew out and the heroes were trying to stop them. He was gunned down, and you can see in the shot when he's gunned down, because I watched the game closely, and he was gunned down during the blackout. And when she opened the match, he was dead, with his watch that he got from his daughter broken and cracked. So yes, with that, I believe it's really sad, and yeah. And it's very, very sad storyline watching Yuri go from a good person to a bad person, and that she is not calm, that this hammerhead thing has made her go too far, and that she could go too far and do something that she might regret. So, let's start off with the good story. The story is really great. It's nice how they straight ahead go into the mafia crime boss thing and a whole Yuri story arc. That's what's really cool, seeing Yuri go bad, and that Hammerhead is really good at turning people into the dark side and showing their dark sides. And it was cool because Yuri always kept herself in check during the main game, but now she was on full throttle. She did not care. She wanted to pin up Hammerhead against the wall. She wanted to kill him. But Spider-Man held her back and was failed when he failed to get evidence and lock him up and handle this. Yuri got angry and decided to pursue it himself. So yes. And with that, the storyline is really good, and I do believe it ends on a really sad note. But I'll get to that later. With that is the characters. The characters are really good in this game. They're really expanded upon, especially Yuri, who was pushed to the limits in this level. The specific story in the game, she's pushed to her limits by Hammerhead. Hammerhead is pushing her buttons constantly, and she is pushed to the limits, and she becomes Wraith. Basically, she starts her vigilante crimes, vigilante like Batmanish vigilantism. So yeah. And that's what I believe he does. She does, and that's what's sad. And with Hammerhead, he pushes her to the limit, like how Doc Ock pushed Spider-Man to his limits. It also expands upon Spider-Man's character arc, and how Spider-Man is affected by this. Like in the last level, it expanded upon Spider-Man and his relationship with Felicia Hardy, and how he could be possibly a father in that level, and how it affected Mary Jane, who was truly in love with Peter at the time. With that. With this and Turtles, it shows that Spider-Man will go to anything to protect his friends, even those like Yuri. He already lost one friend, that being he lost his Aunt May, he lost his parents, he lost his Uncle Ben, and he lost his friend and colleague Otto Octavius. His friend is sick right now, so he doesn't want to lose any more friends. And he just lost one of his friends, Felicia Hardy, aka Black Cat. And he doesn't exactly want to lose any more friends or family. He doesn't want to lose Yuri as a friend. And that's what really broke him. It was saddening for anyone who played the game. It was sad because she was a good person. She was truly a good person. And when you play the main game and you've done the whole game over and you do it again, you feel saddened because all these good people are going to turn bad. And you don't want them to turn bad. You want them to stay good. That's what you want. That's what you want for them. You want them to stay good. You don't want them to turn bad. You don't want the pain and the evil to turn them against themselves. So that's the same thing. And so yes, unique fights. The unique fights you get in this game is different. Unlike the last game, you get fights against mafia crime bosses in suits of armor. You verse Hammerhead in a suit of armor on one of the Sabletech, the Olympus project. You had to verse off him in a big mech suit, which I find really, really cool. And I really think it does, and it's good how you do the different fights. When you go to the Hammerhead bases, you verse them off with Sabletech. They're not just basic crime bosses anymore, they're not basic. They now have Sabletech, and you have to try and find a new strategy around this, because the tech is different from when they made it different. That's what it did. They didn't repeat what they did in Spider-Man PS4. This tech's much more different, and it has a lot more than it did last time. So yeah. And well, another one is dangling plot lines. What I believe they did is they left a dangling plot line that Hammerhead was going to get resurrected. And this time, he was not going to be happy. Was he going to be a zombie? Was he going to be a robot zombie? Or was he just going to be basic Hammerhead? So yes, it was really cool seeing the dangling plot line and what was going to happen. Yuri, was she going to be evil or something? That was one thing I really liked. And the other plot lines they set up for the third one was really good. So yeah. And if you're wondering, that's just a little charger adapter thingy that's over here. So yeah. But yeah, what do I believe? So yeah, that's what I believe is really good with the game, the overall good game. And now we get to the in the middle stuff. What I believe in the middle was the activities around the map. The activities were a bit repetitive this time. They felt a bit more repetitive this time, especially the screwball challenges. They felt different yet the same like last time. Yes, I forgot to mention in the heist DLC that there were screwball challenges like in the main game. You had to throw a screwball in one called famous, and you had to face some more with challenge tokens in the DLC heist. And then the verse again in the Turf Wars and in the next one, Silver Lining, where you have a boss fight with him. So I felt like the activities were a bit repeats, like the bases, the crimes, a lot of that stuff didn't feel different. They didn't really change the formula up. They didn't really switch things up. They didn't really change things, like they didn't take this food over there, take this stone over there, flip this up, put these two over here, take this. Da 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 do 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 da da do, like that. They didn't do that. They didn't change anything over. See? So yeah. Now, another thing that was in the middle is the map. The map was, well, again, it's basically the same. That's what it was the same map. So there's really nothing I can comment on that. Same map, just night and day and raining. So yes. So with that, my overall rating is 8 out of 10. So yes, there's a couple of things like the map and the activities that make it go down a bit. And the bigger helm gets much more bigger than its previous one. So yes, that would be that. The next one is Silver Lining, which is the third and final episode in this 3-episode story arc. In the storyline, Sable is now returned to New York, and she wants to hunt down Hammerhead to get her tech back. Now we finally get a finishing off plotline to the Sable tech that was introduced in the Heist DLC. This rounds it off. So let's start with the good. The good is a great story. It has a great story, and I believe it really does do a great storyline. And what it does to the story is make Silver Sable, a part of it, and it shows that Silver Sable can be hero, or more like an anti-hero. And it shows Silver Sable and Spider-Man can work together, unlike in the main game where they were enemies. But then they became allies. And in this one, it shows that their friendship is friends now. They are officially friends at this point. And now he is an ally, a powerful ally against them, against their forces of evil. So yes, that's what I really liked about the storyline. And a great ending. I believe this ending was really great this time, and it is a solid good ending. The story started off great, and the ending was good. Really good ending. And it honored Stan Lee, who had sadly passed away in 2018, so they honored him with a very nice honoring. And he made a cameo in the main game, so it was nice to see that. And so they honored him. So yes, that's what I lived. That's what I loved. And another thing is they leave anticipation for the next installment. Now, what I mean by that is they leave anticipation, like what will happen next, and it ends with him training Miles Morales in the ways of Spider-Man, and that preps up for Miles Morales, a future sequel in a later point in time. That's what I really liked that they did in this one. They prepped up the storyline for the next game. That's what I really think they did well. They prepped up the next storyline. So with that, that was really good, and I really believe that they had good prepping up for the next installment. And another good thing was good activities. The activities were really good to play, and they were really fun and interesting activities around the map. And I really believe that they were really fun, and it was really interesting and different, and it made itself unique from the other 2 episodes, whereas the second one found a bit repetitive, the third one felt not so repetitive, tiny bit repetitive, but a bit more different and unique. So yes, with that, another thing is the characters. The characters were nicely expanded upon, especially Spider-Man and Silver Sable's relationship. It was expanded upon and made much more clear that they could be friends and allies and how to work together. Also, Peter's worrying and desperation for Mary Jane not to get injured in the battlefield was nice. And the Silver and whole going to Sicario plotline would become a more bigger plotline in the later on plotline for Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. So yes. And another thing I like is how after Mary Jane leaves, Peter kind of throws himself full throttle into Spider-Man work. He does Spider-Man work, he takes care of Feast, and he helps train Miles during his time there. And he talks to Mary Jane from time to time, and he enjoys his regular life as Peter Parker. So yeah. That is it. And that's what I really feel like was good about the game. And another thing is the challenge. It brings a different challenge. Like when you have to take down Screwball and do her last few missions. Or when you're talking to Miles and you have to try and defeat bad guys. Or when you're doing a Silver Side mission with one of the ex-Sable missionaries. Or when you have to deal with the Jameson episodes, how he rants about how he discredits some of your heroic acts. That's what I really think was challenging. Another thing was challenging was some of the other activities like the boss, like the bases were also a bit challenging. The challenge tokens were a bit challenging, and many more were kind of challenging. Especially playing through some of the story, especially defeating Hammerhead. That was a very hard boss battle. Yeah, Stormy and rose up on top. With that, now we get to in the middle. Map. The map is, like I said in the last two episodes, basically the same, and it only set at sunset. Whereas in the first episode, it was set in night. The second episode, it was set in a rainy day and night. And the third episode was set in night. Oh, no, actually, no, sunset. It was set in the sunset, and then night, and then sunset. So, yeah, that's what I really believe happened. And, yeah, the map is good still, and I cannot wait to see how they'll expand it in the sequel. So, yeah, that is what I believe. And the rating for this episode overall is 9 out of 10. So, with Heist, with the Heist, Turf Wars, and Silver Lining all being reviewed, I'm going to give my rating on all 3 episodes. So like I said earlier, the first episode in the Spider-Man PS4 DLC content, City That Never Sleeps, is Heist. I gave it a 9 out of 10. There were some things that downed it for me, and it was still a good episode, but 9 out of 10. Turf Wars. There were some things that raised the stakes and made it even more better, and raised the stakes for the characters and the hero of our story, but overall it had some issues, making it 8 out of 10. Silver Lining, 9 out of 10. One issue made it with the map and some other things made it clear that it was as good, but not as good as I thought it would be, so 9 out of 10. But now my overall rating of all 3 episodes and the City That Never Sleeps storyline as a whole would be 10 out of 10. So yep. So that is my review on Marvel's Spider-Man PS4 DLC content. Now my next video will be on Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales PS4, and that will be my last video for the year. And I've just gotten a text from my mother saying that she's going to Robert Harris. And yep, with that, that is the second to last video of 2020. And I'll make sure to upload another video. I'll be uploading a few more videos in the coming years, like a video ranking all the Spider-Man franchises, a review of Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales on the PS4, and a tribute video to my entire school year as a whole, and a overall reflection video of the year to finish off the year. But yes, I do believe truly 2020 has been an odd year. But I do not want to finish off the 2020 year and to talk about 2020 now. That will be saved for another video. But enjoy this video, and may you guys enjoy your year, and I'll see you in my next video on Miles Morales for the PS4. But expect a PS5 version of Miles Morales and the remastered and the future installments of the game to be on around next year or the following year. Now I want you in the comments below to tell me, do you want me to do a review on the movie? And if not, and if do, tell me which movie should I do. Should I do a Spider-Man movie? A Batman movie? So yes, I will also do a TV series. Maybe do a TV series. That'd be nice. Maybe just do a TV series. Same template, just a bit different. So yeah. And yes. So yeah, and yeah, enjoy your day, and I will do the next video I'll be doing will be ranking all 3 Spider-Man franchises, and then after that ranking all 6 seasons of The Flash only, all 5 seasons of Gotham. Actually, no. So what would you expecting next year is a ranking of all 6 seasons of The Flash, and a ranking of all 5 seasons of Gotham next year. That's what you'll be expecting next year for my videos on YouTube. And reviews on all the Spider-Man films, and I mean every one of them. So yes, with that, that is the video for today, and make sure you guys have an Excelsior day, and good luck, and Excelsior.